people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news. Ow!
Okay, we'll start with this. In my previous video, we talked about the upcoming light flyweight unification match between WBC champion Ken Clavel of Canada and newly crowned WBA champion of Mexico, Jessica Plata. What that fight might end up looking like, and what we can expect to see in that match. We talked about that, but what happens afterwards, that's worth some discussion as well, as the winner of this fight will be a prime target for two-division champion right here in the US of A, Estrada, who very recently crossed over from the DAZN side of things to the Top Rank and ESPN side of things. Estrada currently campaigns at minimum weight. She holds the WBA title there. She's one of 4 champions at minimum weight. There is Estrada holding the WBA title, Germany's own Tina Ruprecht holding the WBC title, Costa Rica's own IBF champion, Yokasta Valle. She's got the blue belt. She's got the IBF. Vietnam's own Thi Nguyen. She's got the WBO. Because Estrada parted ways with Golden Boy Promotions and she's on the Top Rank side of things now, and because this upcoming Thursday, on the 8th, Yokasta Valle will be taking on Thi Nguyen in their unification match, Yokasta Valle being a Golden Boy Promotions fighter. That's important. You want to pay attention to that, because if Yokasta Valle wins, if she pries the WBO title away from Thi Nguyen, she's taking it over there to the Golden Boy Promotions side of things. Estrada having recently parted ways with them, and Yokasta Valle having very recently joined the fray, it's safe to say that this is a division that may stay divided. Because Sinisia is with Top Rank and Yokasta is with Golden Boy. We know that it has been Estrada's aim to become the minimum weight division's undisputed champion, but there appears to be a fly in the ointment. Promotional issues, platform issues. It's possible that she don't get the chance to become an undisputed champion in the minimum weight division, at which point she may so decide to move back upstairs to light flyweight. Where Ken Clavel campaigns, where Jessica Plata campaigns, Evelyn Bermudez as well, where those fighters, those champions campaign and reign as champions. If things prove difficult for Estrada, if she can't unify that division, if she can't get a unification match, or if she can't become that division's undisputed champion due to politics, because Yokasta Valle is over there on the Golden Boy Promotions and DAZN side of things, if that proves to be an issue beyond this upcoming week's unification match, Sinisia can always set her sights north of the minimum weight division, upstairs to light flyweight, where she can target the winner of Clavel versus Plata, or she can choose to take on Evelyn Bermudez straight away. Sinisia's crossed over to Top Rank, though she hasn't made her Top Rank debut yet. That's supposed to go down sometime in the fall. Don't know who she's going to be taking on, who that fight's going to be against. Ideally, it would be against someone like Tina Ruprecht, but you never really know. Though in the event that Sinisia can't corner any champions at minimum weight, she can always decide to move back up to light flyweight. She actually won the WBO title there from Tenkai Tsunami, but was forced to vacate it by the WBO due to a rule they have. They don't allow any of their champions to hold alphabet titles at other weights. Not simultaneously. They force you to choose, at which point she chose to hang on to the WBA title at minimum weight. She vacated that WBO title, at which point Argentina's own Evelyn Bermudez fought for the newly vacated title. With Top Rank and ESPN behind her, Estrada might decide to go right back up to the light flyweight division. And it's important to note that Kim Clavel, who's promoted by Canadian-based promoter Yvonne Michel, Jim. They have a great working relationship with the people over there at Top Rank. So if by some chance Kim Clavel emerges the victor in December when she takes on reigning champion Jessica Neri Plata, a fight between Senicia Estrada and Kim Clavel, it can happen. Kim Clavel has actually fought on the ESPN platform before, about 2 years ago in 2020, during the thick of the pandemic, and she may yet fight there again. The network relationship is there. The network relationship exists to where if Kim wins in December, a fight between her and Senicia Estrada could happen on the ESPN platform. In truth, with Top Rank and ESPN behind her, regardless of who wins Clavel versus Plata, I could see Senicia Estrada facing the winner of that fight, though because she has Top Rank and ESPN behind her, perhaps the best idea would be to abandon ship, move up and wait and see if you can't get Evelyn Bermudez in the ring. She's got 2 alphabet titles. Forget about the minimum weight division because you may not be able to get the winner of Valle versus Thithuthit Nunyan in the ring. God knows how long it's been since Tina Ruprecht had a fight. I'm just saying, if things get difficult at minimum weight, you can always move back up to light flyweight. Fights to be made up there. You might want to get a jump start on Undisputed by taking on Evelyn Bermudez straight away, so when the winner of Clavel versus Plata emerges, you're just one fight away from Undisputed, regardless of who wins that fight. So as stated, it does help that Kim Clavel is promoted by Yvonne Michel, who has a great working relationship with the people over there at Top Rank and ESPN. It can happen. Men's flyweight news, a disappointing development by way of boxing scribe Julius Julianus, who states, well, it seems that the famous unification of Ray Martinez and Sonny Edwards was never even close to being promised and will never be signed. This bit of information was released earlier this week. We know that the people at Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they were working on this thing. What the story was, up until recently, they were working on this thing, or they were supposed to be, and I'm going to be honest with you. All the instability in association with this story seems to be coming from Julio Cesar Martinez. Sonny Edwards himself reacted to the news saying, agreed date, any venue, purse, and spent the last 6 weeks training and preparing for Martinez. I was expecting a contract to come any day, and then found out the fight is off. We don't know here and now why exactly the fight is off. I can think of a few reasons off the top of my head. I don't know. Maybe it's travel issues. Maybe Sonny Edwards, like some other fighters over there in the United Kingdom, is not allowed to enter into the country, this country. Thus, he can't get south of the border because he can't get here. Though even with that, I think there would be some ways to get around that kind of a travel ban. Just enter into Mexico from some other country. Instead of going in through America, go through one of the other neighboring territories in order to get into Mexico. That's a big part of the reason I'm not actually convinced that travel issues are the... I'm not sure that it's travel issues that have caused this fight to collapse, though I do have them in mind. I have them in mind because when I talked to Sonny a few weeks ago, the plan seemed to have been to do the fight south of the border in Mexico. Now, if that plan changed and they wanted to do the fight in America, well then Sonny entering into the country, then that would have become an issue, because I'm not sure that he can. We know that there are approximately 600 names on the banned list. 600 names that, due to their tenuous associations with alleged cartel king Daniel Kinahan, are not allowed to enter into the country. Tyson Fury and Tommy Fury being 2 among them. It was speculated earlier this year that Savannah Marshall's name is among that list of names as well, and Sonny Edwards could be another. That could be the issue, though if I had to guess... I mean, it could be that way, but if I had to guess... Listen, it's not Sonny Edwards that has had 3 fights rescheduled in recent memory. 3 separate postponements. Julio Cesar Martinez, entertaining little fighter that he might be, he's not reliable, and people are beginning to notice. He was supposed to box McWilliams Arroyo on 3 separate occasions, and they were still unable to get the fight over the line. If I had to guess, I'd guess that instability on the Martinez end of things might be why this fight is... That might very well be why this fight is off. Only one of these 2 fighters has become synonymous with postponements and cancellations, and it's not Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards himself was asked, with fights falling through, and obviously no one really wanting to fight you, what's the plan? to which Sonny Edwards replied, defend against my mandatory, and after this one, probably look at a super flyweight world champion. I hear the IBF one wants to fight me. IBF champion of Argentina, newly crowned Fernando Martinez, who beat Jerwin on Cajas for the red belt at super flyweight. They're supposed to be having their rematch in October on the undercard of Fundora versus Ocampo. Fernando Martinez, in spite of what seems to be an expressed interest, is not available at this time to lock horns with IBF flyweight champion Sonny Edwards. And as far as Julio Cesar Martinez, on the heels of this fight's collapse, Martinez's promoter Eddie Hearn confirmed that there may be a delay on this fight and that Martinez would still be out in October, but not necessarily against Edwards. Should Sonny Edwards versus Julio Cesar Martinez not happen next, Hearn revealed that they would still look for another champion for Martinez to face. Edwards could fight his mandatory challenger, IBF number 3 ranked Felix Alvarado. There are 2 other flyweight champions out there for Julio Cesar Martinez to fight if they can't get this fight over the line. There is the unbeaten WBO champion of Japan, Gento Nakatani. He's there. Problem is, he's not available. He's supposed to have a fight coming up. That leaves only unbeaten Artem Dalakian, long-reigning WBA champion as of 2018. If things fell through with Sonny and Gento's busy, that leaves you with only Artem Dalakian for a unification match. And good match, great match that might be. That fight doesn't have the profile of the Sonny Edwards fight because it doesn't have the backstory of the Sonny Edwards fight. What happened between Julio Cesar Martinez and Sonny's brother, Charlie? What was that, 2 years ago? Those 2 boys fought. Julio Cesar Martinez hit Charlie Edwards while he was down. Julio got himself disqualified. Charlie Edwards subsequently left the flyweight division, moved up in weight as he had outgrown it, leaving unfinished business between... there's still unfinished business between them, but because Sonny Edwards still campaigns at this weight, hopefully he would be the one to finish it. But you see what the story is. The fight has fallen through. It has collapsed, and I reiterate, given all the instability we've been seeing from Julio Cesar Martinez, that he was supposed to fight McWilliams Arroyo a ways back, and the fight ended up getting postponed 3 separate times. And now this fight also gets postponed or called off altogether. I feel like it's safe to say that maybe it's instability on Martinez's end that has caused this fight to collapse. Which is unfortunate because this fight, unlike a lot of other fights at flyweight, this fight has a backstory. This fight, unlike other proposed fights and unification matches, this fight actually has a profile. Last spoke to Sonny Edwards, he really wanted this thing, and he was willing to make the necessary sacrifices and concessions to get it over the line. And once again, as all things are when they're associated with Julio Cesar Martinez, there is instability. The fight has fallen through. Now, just because they weren't able to get it over the line this time, that doesn't mean they can't revisit the fight, because these 2 guys, they do still campaign at the same weight. And when one moves up to super flyweight, the other might follow shortly after. That's being optimistic. Though for now, the fight seems to be off. It seems to be dead in the water. Sonny is setting his sights on taking care of business with his mandatory, then potentially moving up in weight, and Julio may end up unifying with someone else. That's the story.
Usyk, middleweight. You say you want the WBC, and it's held by gypsies. It is held by gypsies. It's held by the Gypsy King, and it's held tightly, grasped tight. And all road leads to a 7-foot behemoth that will absolutely destroy you, middleweight. Middleweight, you will get smashed to bits. You say you wanted to fight me after you beat the bodybuilder. Called me out on television. And now you're being a little bitch pussy boy. Running. Hiding. Saying you've got injuries. You ain't got no injuries. You had a sparring contest. Get out and fight in December. You let your mouth go. Now let's back it up. See if you can back it up, middleweight. Doesn't matter if it's December or April or August next year. The outcome will be the same. I will obliterate you. I'm a 7-foot, 20-stone behemoth, and I will destroy you, middleweight. Find your balls. Come see me. bitch.
Tyson Fury released that video message to Alexander Usyk by way of his social media yesterday. I didn't address it yesterday. I didn't rush to do a segment on it because there's not much of a story there to begin with. For starters, days prior, several days prior, approximately 4 or 5 days prior to Tyson Fury's video message, Bob Arum already let it be known that the fight between Fury and Usyk wouldn't happen this year. It's not happening in December. According to Bob, they're looking to do it somewhere in the Middle East, February 11th or the 18th.
Bob Arum said that 4 or 5 days ago.
And 4 or 5 days later, Tyson Fury comes out with this video message.
What, he wants people to believe that Usyk is running and he's scared, he's afraid of Tyson Fury?
It's a tough sell when he's not the one asking for $500 million to get in the ring with Tyson Fury. It's Tyson Fury saying that, or at least he was. I don't know if he's come off of that demand, which I really didn't think was a serious demand to begin with.
But that doesn't change that he's the one saying it. That doesn't change that he's the one who intermittently keeps retiring, then unretiring.
That doesn't change that it's Tyson Fury asking for $500 million, even if he's just joshing, even if he's just playing around. He seems to be the guy with all the ultimatums.
Didn't he say 7 or 8 days ago if they don't come up with the money for this fight in 7 days, he's staying retired? Didn't he say that?
No, he did say that. He did give the powers that be an ultimatum. What it's going to take to get him in the ring with Alexander Usyk fiscally, and when he's
expecting them to come up with the dough, come up with the loot, come up with the scratch, come up with the cash. Unrealistic demand.
As unrealistic as that might have been, the only one making demands is Tyson Fury. The only one being a diva here is him. You don't hear all this arbitrary stuff coming from the Usyk people.
Utter fucking nonsense.
Arbitrary is the only way to describe it, citing a fight that took place in the amateurs approximately 16 years ago between Alexander Usyk and Sean Porter, back when they were young men, back when they were kids, really. I mean, that's why he keeps calling Alexander middleweight, but I mean, I think we've established that he's grown since then.
What, do I really gotta say this? He's not a middleweight anymore. Whatever he was 16 years ago, he ain't that 16 years later.
Things change. He might have been campaigning as a middleweight 16 years ago. Hey, 16 years ago, you had hair on your head.
Look what happened.
Things change. Some things get bigger, some things get thinner. It happens. It's life.
So how arbitrary is it really to call this guy a middleweight when he so clearly isn't a middleweight anymore?
These days, Alexander Usyk spends about as much time at middleweight as you spend on haircuts.
Friendo.
It's infantile is what it is. It's childish, stupid, arbitrary. This candor from Tyson Fury, and I don't know if this is just him trying to psych Alexander Usyk out, saying whatever comes to mind to try and get into that guy's head.
I don't know if that's what he's doing or what he's trying to do because of how arbitrary all of this is, but I don't think...
Whatever this is, I don't think it's going to bother Alexander in the least bit. These mind games or what are being perceived to be mind games. This ain't Deontay Wilder, you understand. This is not a mentally fragile, mentally weak.
Alexander's not really a guy with a big ego.
Guy who's putting himself on a pedestal that you can then take down a peg. Not this guy, not psychologically anyway, because he's grounded. He's centered. He's not an egomaniac.
The more video messages you make like this, the more nervous you come off.
Because he's not doing stuff like this, and you're the one being the chatty patty.
Whilst making outlandish demands.